Hi there. So this week I'm starting my exploration into Heilkunst phenotypes with the phenotype Staphysagria. So if you want to know what phenotypes are before you start this video, I did a video last week explaining what Heilkunst phenotypes are. So you can check that out. The link will be in the description box or right here. So you might want to check that out before you start this video, just so you know what phenotypes are. So today, like I said, I'm going to be starting with the Staphysagria phenotype, which is all about suppressed or repressed anger, resentment, victimization, all those sorts of emotions. So if you've had a lifetime of biting your tongue or keeping the peace, or even, had a lifetime of abuse, being with perhaps abusive parents physically or emotionally, or an abusive partner, you can shift into what we call a Staphysagria phenotype. And I'm going to explain that further, but first, my name is Stacey, and I'm a Heilkunst practitioner and creator of the Express Your Truth 8-Step Emotional Empowerment Program. And so with the Staphysagria phenotype, there's 4 different types we can shift into, but there's sort of aspects that all of them have. And so Staphysagrias will tend to, like I said, because they've suppressed their anger or the resentment. This started off with, receiving messages that anger is bad, or anger is not ladylike, or it's inappropriate. And so we haven't known what to do, and so we generally model our parents, and in a lot of cases we end up stuffing it down, just suppressing it. Let's just stuff down that anger. And so when we do that, healthy anger starts to become almost perverted. It becomes rage or fury and starts to have this uncontrollable feeling. And so then we start to become afraid of that. We start to become afraid of sort of that ticking time bomb of anger that's lying just below the surface. And sometimes we have it so well suppressed that we're not even aware that that's there. But as we start to get into it, like with Heilkunst treatment, when we start to get into that, people start to realize, oh, there is a lot of anger under the surface from all those years of stuffing it down. And so because it has that uncontrollable feeling with the rage or fury, once healthy anger has been suppressed, we become afraid of it and we don't want to go there. And so we stuff it down even more, and it's this vicious cycle. And so we can, with Staphysagria, once in a while, it'll build, and then we will explode to release steam. And so I have a lot of people say to me, oh, I'm not in a Staphysagria state because I can get angry. But usually what it is it's just kind of you're suppressing, all these little things happen, all these little irritations happen, these resentments happen, and we just kind of bite our tongue, we don't say anything, and things will build and build and build. And then we will have an explosion that's out of proportion for what the situation calls for. And I know a lot of people can relate to that. And so with Staphysagria, because there's that suppressed anger, and I think because they start to become afraid of that sort of that ticking time bomb underneath, they avoid confrontation. They don't like confrontation. All 4 types don't like confrontation. And also when someone's wronged them or they get angry with someone, it's like all of the suppressed anger and resentment comes up and attaches itself to that situation. And so, yeah, they're not getting mad at just that situation. They're getting mad at all the other times that they didn't express themselves, express their anger. And so the 4 types are the sweet Staphysagria type, the wild type, the subdued, and the smooth type. And so, like I said, they all have those things in common. They don't like confrontation. When they've been wronged, they're not getting mad at just that one situation. They're getting mad at everything that's never been expressed. But with the sweet type, it goes further, and they just want to keep the peace. They become very sweet, very agreeable. They tend to put their head in the sand about things. They can kind of talk in like a nice voice a lot of the times. Generally, women will shift into the sweet type. And then there's the wild type. And generally, I don't see a lot of the wild type, but it's more so the men that will shift into the wild type. And so the wild type is all about being reckless and impulsive, and they will do sort of wild, reckless things to release that anger. It's sort of an outlet for their anger. And a really good example, actually, of the sweet type is Adam Sandler's character in Anger Management. If you've ever watched that, or if you want to check that out, watch Adam Sandler's character. That's the sweet Staphysagria type. And the wild type would be Patrick Swayze's character in Point Break. I haven't seen the new version of the Point Break, but I know Patrick Swayze's character in Point Break is a really good example of that wild, reckless type. And he's sort of channeling that anger into reckless behavior, right? So, and then we have the subdued type. So the subdued type can look a lot like the Nat mirror phenotype, which I'm going to talk about next week. And so they can tend to kind of isolate themselves, avoid social situations, and go into more intellectual pursuits as a way of sort of avoiding confrontation, avoiding strong emotions. And then we have the smooth type. And so the smooth type is sort of the most socially adjusted type of Staphysagria, and so they look a lot like the Lycopodium constitution, which I talked about in my constitutional video series. And so they will tend to avoid emotions. Like, they will avoid it, they'll deflect with humor, they're emotionally aloof. And one thing I forgot to mention with the subdued type, when they talk about how they're feeling, they often get confused. Like, the Staphysagrias in general, because there's been so much suppressing going on. When we suppress one emotion, we actually end up suppressing all of them. And so there can be confusion around how they feel. And a lot of times they're not even really in touch with their emotions. And then, I don't get angry. And yeah, so expression of emotion is not a big thing with Staphysagria. And so with that smooth type, they will sort of gloss over. They won't express emotions at all. They'll avoid confrontation. They'll deflect it with humor. And they can, if people sort of persist and try and get into their emotions, they can speak very sternly, sort of like tersely, and to shut them down. And so the physical things with Staphysagria, very common things are styes, so little bumps you get on your eyes, bladder infections, UTIs, and also we store our anger in our jaw, our neck, and our shoulder. So a lot of times neck and shoulder and jaw tension, or clenching our jaw, or grinding our teeth at night, things like that, they're related to unexpressed anger, resentment, suppressing those emotions. If you relate to Staphysagria, I would love to hear from you, and so please leave a comment below. If you like this video, please give me a like, and if you haven't done so already, subscribe to my channel and you'll receive a notification when I put out a new video. And next week I'm going to be talking about the Nat mirror phenotype, which is all about loss, unresolved grief, abandonment, and betrayal. So I will see you next week, and thanks for watching.